Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. If you haven't already subscribed, please click on the subscribe button. I'll be dropping one video every week. Now today we're going to be making fufu using two different methods. The first one I'm going to call the modern method, right? Because it doesn't take time, and the second one is a traditional method. Now to make fufu, as we call it in Nigeria, you have to use cassava. Some other people call it yuca in other countries. This is what cassava looks like. It looks almost like a tuber of yam, but it's a little shorter, right? And this is what we're going to be using to make fufu. Okay, now you want to get out the clean water, right? Because we're going to be washing this when we are done. So first off, I have my potato peeler here. Otherwise, you can use a sharp knife. My potato peeler works very well with this, so I decided to use this instead. And guys, you can see how easily it cuts through that skin. We don't need a skin for fufu, so we're going to cut that out. I should mention that cassava grown in Nigeria or most West African countries are a lot more different from the ones we have in our Western countries. So what I mean by that is there's something called cyanide, right? It is more prominent in cassava grown in Nigeria, for instance, and that's why you would see me do the process I'm going to do. Otherwise, we have some cassavas grown in European countries, and you'll find out that you don't need to actually soak it, which you're going to see me do shortly. Now I'm going to cut it. Notice I changed the knife I was using because it is very hard, so I'm going to use my butcher knife to cut it out. You also want to check out for the string that is in between the cassava. I'm going to show you that shortly, but then my butcher knife gave it a very good job. So this is what it looks like. Now guys, this is what I was talking about, this string. You don't want that making your fufu thread like, so you want to take that out, and you can see the process I'm going to use to get it out, just so that it comes out really nicely and we do not waste so many cassava in getting it out. Once you have that out, you can continue to dice. And guys, I was already done, and the next step is to throw away all the dirt, and then we're going to wash this till it's clean. You're going to turn the water out and then put in new water, right? And then I'm going to be using a trick, baking soda. Baking soda is going to help it to ferment. We're going to ferment this to take away the cyanide, and this is what we do for our cassavas that are homegrown. However, again, this is not required if you're using Western cassava, or you can still do the process all the same, right? Now guys, I'm going to leave that for about 3 to 5 days. Some people go as far as 7 days, but with baking soda it helps to speed up the fermentation process. So doing this for just 4 days, which is what I did here, is fine. I turned out that water, and then this is what we have. It looks so good, and it's a lot softer even when I touch it and feel it with my hands. And then the next step is to blend. Now I should also mention you need a very powerful blender because the cassava is actually very strong, and please do not use too much water. You can notice the level of the water I used here is really little. Once again, that's why you need a very powerful blender. Otherwise, if you live in Nigeria, you notice that we take this to a commercial grinder that requires little water and still gets you a very smooth blend. However, if you're using a blender, use a very powerful one, which mix is the one I'm using here. And guys, you can see how smooth that paste is. I like to feel it with my hands, so I'm sure it's really smooth. Next up, I'm going to put my pot on heat. I'm going to pour in that blended mix. Now, this is the first method, right? This is what I would call the modern method because it's a lot easier. It is so good. And guys, you don't have to spend so much time in the kitchen using this particular method. Now I'm going to just stir this together, and then it's going to solidify. Now if you notice that it has lumps, do not stop. As long as your blend was smooth and you do not stop stirring, you're going to get that lovely fufu. Now notice how the color changes from this white to off-white or cream color. Now how you know your fufu is ready is when it begins to turn to this cream color, and you want that to be all round. And guys, our fufu is ready. This is the first method on how to make it. I'm going to add a little bit of water. Notice how the color has changed. Cover that up, allow it to cook for a little over 15 minutes on low heat, and after 15 minutes open up that pot, and guys, this is fufu. Stir that once again together using a wooden spoon. As you can see me do here. This is so good. It is soft. If you notice that it's a little bit soft, allow it to cool down. It's going to harden as it cools down. And guys, this is the first method on how to make fufu. Now to the traditional method. Once again, we already have our fermented cassava rice. Add a little water, guys. Please use very little water. Blend it till it's smooth. And for the traditional method, they always put this in a cheesecloth to sieve out excess water. So guys, that's why you would notice that for the traditional method, the fufu is a lot stronger or firmer when you feel it in your hands. So guys, you can see me squeeze out the excess water using my cheesecloth. Please note that my hands are clean, right? And that's why I can conveniently squeeze it out like this. Now once you have the excess water out, you would see what we have. Yes, this is what we'll be using to make our fufu. It is so dry and thick, and guys, this is what we're going to be using. Once again, this is how to make it using the traditional method that I grew up knowing, right? Now once we have that ready, put that into a clean bowl, and then you're going to get out little parts of it and roll them into a ball, almost like you would do with your dough for bread. So just roll it out. It doesn't take any extra process, and once you have that, I'll be doing that for the others. Now guys, we have that ready. That was really fast and quick. Next up, you're going to put water on fire. Make sure it is already boiling, and then you're going to put in the drops of fufu. Guys, this is what we have, and you're going to boil this for about 20 minutes, right? Again, please use medium to low heat. You do not want it to burn. You just want it to cook, and you will notice that the white color is going to turn to cream color. Make sure you watch out for that color. That tells you that it is cooking, and it will tell you that it's almost ready. Now for the first thing you're going to do using the traditional method is you're going to take this out, right, and put that into a mortar. Yes, and if you want to use a food processor, that equally works, right? Or if you have a stand mixer, that also works. I'm using a mortar and pestle because I'm staying true to the theme, right? So now we're going to pound this. This is going to take a little energy, right? But like I said, you can always use a food processor to do this. I got some water from the boiling water on fire and then added it so you can soften it a little bit. Pound it some more. Make sure you don't use too much water. You can see the little water I added to this, and once we are good and ready, I'm going to take that out and then put it back into that pot and allow it to cook for another 15 minutes. Now why are we cooking it twice? It is the way we've always known it to be, but why we do that is you want it to fully cook. We broke it down first, right, and that's why we had to put it back again to cook. Now put it in the pot, allow it to cook, and at this point you should already begin to perceive that lovely fufu aroma. And interestingly, this process doesn't make the fufu smell so much. You would notice that for the regular fufu it smells so much, but this one didn't really smell so much. And I think it is the whole fermentation process and how you go about it is just amazing. And notice how the second time we are pounding it, it is just so easy. It is so smooth. You can see already how silky that looks. It is super nice. This is ready, and guys, this is the second method on how to make fufu. And I'm curious, guys, which one do you prefer? Aside the stress using the traditional method, I personally prefer this, guys. This is just so good. Plus, the next time I'm going to do this, I'll most likely use my stand mixer or a food processor to get that ready. But guys, this is so good. And guys, this is what we have. We have this fufu, and I'm having this with egusi soup, otherwise known as melon soup. It is so delicious. I need you to try it out and make your fufu at home. That way you can control what goes into it. Sometimes the ones that are commercially made, you don't know what goes into it, but when you do it yourself, it's so good. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. See you next week.